Well, welcome to our reflection once more, and coming from Leicester in the UK. And I was originally going to do this reflection outside in the garden. It was a lovely sunny weather. And 5 minutes ago, the skies turned black, and the garden's not lit up anymore. We've got the rain coming down, and it's a bit of a dismal place. But you can see it through the window. But it's quite relevant for what we're going to be looking at this morning. So the reflection today comes from Mark 14:32 to 42, and my name's Nigel. So they went to a place called Gethsemane, and Jesus said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." He took Peter, James and John along with him, and he began to be deeply distressed. He was troubled. He says, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death." He said to them, "Stay here, keep watch." Going a little farther, he fell to the ground and prayed, "If it's possible, the hour might pass from me. Abba, Father," he said, "everything is possible for you. Take this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what you will." And then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Simon," he said to Peter, "are you sleeping? Couldn't you keep watch for an hour? Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit's willing, but the flesh is weak." And once more he went away and prayed the same thing. And when he came back, he again found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. They didn't know what to say to him. Returning the third time, he said to them, "Are you still asleep? Are you still resting? Enough. The hour has come. Look, the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." And by that he meant his betrayer, Judas Iscariot, who was leading the guards to take him away. So Jesus is now heading towards the cross, heading towards his crucifixion, and he knows it. So he takes this opportunity to just talk to his Father, talk to God. And he does that in this garden. So he goes into the Garden of Gethsemane, and he takes his three mates, Peter, James and John, his closest friends. And what do his friends do? Are they support or... Well, no, they let him down. And they let him down badly. This was the hour he needed them the most, and they weren't there for him. Well, I know some of us might have the same feelings sometimes when our mates let us down, and they will. And but we need to remember that we're all fallible. We're all fallible human beings. Jesus knew this, but he still felt let down by them. And they should have done better. And sometimes when our mates let us down, they should have done better. And sometimes we let them down, and we should do better. So let's try and be better there. Well, Jesus is there, and he says to them, he says, keep watch for me." And then he goes into the garden, and he said to his disciples, he said, "Look," he says, "I'm deeply distressed. I'm deeply distressed. I'm troubled. My soul's overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death." So this was I'm feeling a bit fed up. This was a deep distress, and he should have been able to rely on these three mates of his. Well, it showed Jesus' humanity as well. And this is really encouraging, because sometimes we go through these struggles and we think, well, Jesus can't understand what I'm going through. But this is one of those passages that show us he was fully human, and he understood our struggles. He understands because he's been through them. So he then goes into the garden, and he falls to the ground. And when we're in real trouble, when we're in real distress, what should we do? Well, go and pray to our Father God in heaven. And this is what Jesus did. So he went into the garden, and he was honest, and he was straight, and we need to do that sometimes. And he said, if possible, the hour might pass from me, he said. And he said, Abba Father. And this Abba Father, it's almost like this term, dad, this close term. You know, when we're a bit younger or even older, we might, my daughter says to me, oh, Dad, can you do this for me? And it's this close relationship. It showed his divinity, that he wasn't just a father like God the Father is to us, but this real close relationship, this divine relationship, because Jesus was shown Jesus' full divinity. And so he asks, let the hour pass. And he says, everything's possible for you. Take this cup from me. And by this cup, he meant his death on the cross, the suffering that he went through. Take it from me, he said. That's his humanity. But then he puts a caveat and he says, but not what I will, but what you will. And sometimes it's tough. We ask these questions and we ask God to do things for us when we're struggling, and ask him to act in a certain way. But sometimes the answer's no. And when the answer can't really, not just when the answer's no, but when the answer can't be yes. And sometimes we don't understand why, but we need to trust God in that. We need to trust our Father in that when the answer can't be yes. And this was where Jesus was. He had to trust him because the cross was necessary. The cross would have, moving away from the cross, Jesus would have been in a much better position himself. But the rest of us, humanity, would have been lost. It was through the cross that we can be saved, that we can be brought into this relationship with him. So Jesus is looking forward to this point on the cross. He's looking at the suffering he went through, but it was necessary for us. And so he died for us. That's a massive thing. And we need to remember that. So the answer wasn't yes, but he was still in turmoil. Then he goes back to his disciples, probably hoping for some comfort, and he finds them sleeping. Couldn't you keep watch for an hour, he says. And then he says, watch and pray. And then he goes away again, and he does the same thing. He pleads with God the Father. He comes back. Second time, he finds them sleeping. And then the third time, he comes back, and they're still asleep, they're still resting. And then he challenges them. Couldn't you keep awake? Couldn't you keep awake even an hour? And maybe I think when we come to it, and Peter betrayed Jesus, he sort of betrayed him here, really, by his actions. And it was 3 times Jesus did that. And I wonder if that would resonate also when Jesus' 3 denials. I wonder if this would resonate as well and make Peter's heart heavy the way it did when he betrayed him. But again, we're completely fallible. And if it isn't for the grace of God, then we're lost. So Jesus then, he says these really hard words. He says, enough. The hour has come. The Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. My betrayer comes. And this was hard, not only for the fact that he was just about to be betrayed, but it's also hard for these disciples, his close mates, that this was now, there's no way to redeem themselves at this point, because he's going to be taken away. So these last hours with Jesus, really, and they couldn't stay awake. Well, it's gives us hope, I suppose, because sometimes we let God down, And then we sometimes let him down badly. But we'll find out later that Jesus forgives, that we need to turn around, we need to be sorry, but he forgives us. And we'll find that out later as we move on in the story. But yeah, so this interaction between his disciples, this interaction between the Trinitarian persons, but this interaction as fully human, and hopefully that will give us hope. But let's remember what Jesus went through for us to bring us salvation, to give us hope.